While promoting his new film, The Sound of Freedom, actor Jim Caviezel told Fox News former President Donald Trump was the new Moses. Caviezel stressed more needed to be done to stop child trafficking, and getting Trump back into the White House was a starting point.
We have to do a lot more, and we got to start with Donald Trump.
What do you mean?
Well, he's got to be in there because he's going to go after the traffickers.
Do you think he would? Do you think he understands that?
We were with him last night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's going to be moved to do something. I didn't know that.
Oh,
He wasn't
he's
here last night.
This is the new Moses. I mean, I'm still Jesus, but he's the new Moses. Pharaoh, let my children go free.
President Trump said this last night.
When that movie's over, you're very, very sad because of this is going on right now. The Biden administration's done absolutely nothing to protect these children.
The movie has been crushing box office revenue expectations, surpassing $100 million in box office revenue. The ticket sales goal was 2 million, representing the 2 million children who will be trafficked this year. Greg?
And the Sound of Freedom anti-child trafficking movie will be shown by Speaker Kevin McCarthy next Tuesday on Capitol Hill, with Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard joining him. Be interesting to see who from Congress shows up or does not show up. If we find out, we'll let you know.
Former FBI Intel boss Kevin Brock says there's enough information for a full criminal investigation into the Biden family, including the president. The former FBI Assistant Director of Intelligence told Just the News Thursday that the recent memo dropped about Hunter Biden and Burisma is enough to merit a criminal investigation.
We have assertions by the CHS that the CEO of Burisma, Zlochevsky, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, tape recorded a lot of the conversations that he had with Hunter Biden, to include 2 conversations directly with Joe Biden. The FBI needs to know what's on those tapes.
The memo Brock is referring to is the FBI's FD 1023 form released by Iowa Senator Charles Grassley on Thursday. Mike?
Former Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa on Thursday released the FBI's FD 1023, which spells out what a confidential human source told the Bureau about the Biden family's Ukraine business dealings. This is information the Bureau knew before the Hunter Biden laptop story broke in October of 2020. Now listen to this conversation between the FBI source and Burisma CFO Vadim Pajarski in 2015. He's describing what Burisma CEO Zlochevsky said about Hunter Biden. Quote, "They hired Hunter Biden to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems," end quote. In a conversation about the Burisma that is possibly acquiring a U.S.-based energy company, CFO Pajarski replied that Hunter Biden, quote, "was not smart and they wanted to get additional counsel," end quote. CEO Zlochevsky then reportedly said, quote, "Although Hunter Biden was stupid and Zlochevsky's dog was smarter, Zlochevsky needed to keep Hunter Biden on the board so that everything will be okay," end quote. The 1023 also revealed Zlochevsky said this: "It costs $5 million to pay one Biden and $5 million to pay another Biden." The source understood this $10 million in total compensation was presumably to deal with then Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin investigating Burisma Holdings. And we all remember this.
Look, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
After more than 100 House Democrats signed a letter Tuesday attempting to censor Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and keep him from testifying before the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. During the hearing on Thursday, the Democrat presidential hopeful fired back.
This is a letter that many of you signed. Many of my fellow Democrats. I've spent my life in this party. I've devoted my life to the values of this party. This 102 people signed this. This itself is evidence of the problem that this hearing was convened to address. This is an attempt to censor a censorship hearing.
RFK added that censorship goes against everything the Democrat Party stands for. House Democrats asked for Kennedy to be removed, accusing him of spreading anti-Semitism and conspiracy theories about COVID-19 and the mRNA COVID-19 shot.
I created a film that encourages blacks not to get adequate medical care. Is just completely abhorrent.
Don't misuse my words.
It's the witness's time. Do not censor the witness.
I'm not censoring the witness. I'm not censoring the witness. He's still talking.
It's my time, and I've given it to the witness. Do not censor him.
Despite efforts by Democrats to silence Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s voice, the Republican majority stood strong and allowed him to exercise his First Amendment rights. Tim.
Mike, former New York Post reporter and current Breitbart News politics editor Emma Jo Morris testified before the Select Subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government hearing on Thursday.
I'm here today because I published a series of news stories 3 years ago in October of 2020 about Hunter Biden's now infamous laptop, also known as the laptop from hell, which is seen as some of the most scandalous reporting of the last decade. What was more scandalous than the reporting itself, though, was the fact that it exposed the unholy alliance between the intelligence community, social media platforms, and legacy media outlets.
GOP Congresswoman Elise Stefanik asked the journalist about the impact of the censorship on her investigative work and the timing of it before the 2020 election.
So do you agree that the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop story was determinative in the 2020 election, Ms. Morris?
Yeah, there are various polls that say that that there would have been a change in the outcome of the election, and obviously it's immediately relevant to a decision on who to vote for, so obviously.
The New York lawmaker also asked Morris if she believed the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop story was election interference.
Yes, any censorship of speech prevents your ability to think clearly. Yes, of course.
Representative Stefanik pointed to polling, which indicated that had voters been aware of the laptop, 53% would have voted differently, including 61% of Democrats.
Exodus chapter 4 and verse 2, God asked a question of Moses. He brought up Moses. So the Lord said unto him, "What is that in your hand?" He said, "A rod." What a strange question for God to ask someone. See, that's what this movie's all about. That's what your vote is about. That's what you're about. God will use whatever you have in your hand. He'll bless what you put your hand to. He took a rod and delivered millions of Israelis.